Hello everyone, and in today's video we are going to discuss how to play an attacking London. London opening is it is said to be a very positional opening played from the white side. But in this video we are going to check out that no, the London system can be very aggressive, and perhaps to all the players who says that London is an positional opening, I think they are going to be proved wrong in this video. Even I thought that that London was a positional opening, a completely positional opening, but such a super powerful game was played in the Meltwater Champions Chess 2 preliminaries between Arjun Iragasi versus Juventus, and it was the 12th round, and it is played in the online format, and it's a rapid tournament, 15 minutes plus 10-second increment. So the 8 players are going to be selected in the tournament to fight against like the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals. And yeah, it's the round number 12. And let's jump straight into the game, because the game is actually completely, I would say, I don't have a word, like brilliancy. All the London players who plays the London, I think it's going to be extremely helpful for you, because it is actually going to improve your opening level and understanding very much. So let's check it out. So Arjun Iragasi playing with the white pieces starts out the game with 1d4, and Juventus with the black pieces replies with knight f6. Knight to c3 by Arjun. Already the London system is continued by playing bishop f4, and that's how we continue it by playing e3. And now it's our choice to put the pawn on c3 or perhaps the knight on c3. Now it's our wish. It depends upon how black continues the game. But already on the move number 2, we have knight to c3. So Arjun actually committed his knight to c3. So definitely now c3 is not going to be possible. It can, but he now needs to first move the knight, then he needs to play c3. So after knight c3, we have d5 by Juventus, bishop to f4, and now c5. So actually it's an opening from the black side, which I actually play against the London system, because it actually I think is the best option to play against the London, because we actually push our c and the d pawn, having more space in the center, targeting the set, hitting the center, and we can actually develop our minor pieces like white does, and we are completely fine. So after c5, definitely a fine position. e3, a6, stopping everything from coming to b5, like bishop b5 check, stuff like that. Or perhaps the idea could be to even expand on the queen side by playing b5. Here Arjun decides to capture the pawn on c5. Now the b5 can no longer be possible because of n pass. And after dc5, now black have to go for capturing the pawn on c5. So black continues the game by playing queen a5. Now going for the pawn on c5, because although the move looks like to play e6 targeting the pawn on c5, perhaps I think b4 can be a move, although it can be met with b6. But I think after e6, it actually blocks up the bishop on c8. That is one of the reasons that black played queen a5, and perhaps the idea could be to capture the pawn on c5 with the queen, and after something like knight to d7, directly pushing up the pawn onto e5, because now there is no pawn on d4 to guard the e5 square. That's the point. So after queen a5, Arjun continued with knight to f3, knight to d7, double attack on the pawn on c5, and here we have knight to d2. Okay, after knight to d7, the natural move looks to play like something like bishop d3 or bishop e2, the most common stuff, and idea could be to castle. But playing knight d2 already very interesting. Queen into c5. If you go for capturing the c5 pawn with the knight in this position, now after knight b3, like if you take a b3, it opens up the rook file, hitting the queen, and it actually is better for white. That is the reason black captured the pawn with the queen, because now he wants to commit e5 because the e5 pawn is protected by the knight on d7. Knight to b3, queen to c6, and now queen to d4, a very good move by Arjun Iragasi. Stopping e5, centralizing the queen, and now As we know that the knight have been developed to d7, so the queen can't actually hit by any piece. So after queen d4, e6 by Zhu and Zhu. Very, very fine move. The idea looks like to play knight to c5, trading the knights and putting the bishop to c5. Completely fine idea. Long castle by Arjun. In the London we generally do a short castle, but already very interesting play by Arjun we can see. So after long castle, bishop to e7. Black plays very extremely normal. Black plays actually completely normal play. That's how we actually play chess. After playing bishop e7, the idea is very normal. Short castle. That's it. And can you guess Arjun's next move played in the game? So feel free to pause the video, and it's my actually first question. I don't know that it was the best or not. This move was best or not, but practical in the practical point of view, it actually was the best. I believe. So feel free to pause the video and try to find the move played by Arjun Niragasi. So okay, so all those who have came up with the move, g4. You are an extremely attacking player, and I think you are also a positional player because London is a positional opening, it is said, but we have completely attacking London. We have London attack, you can say. g4. And it looks like if black tries to castle, we have something like h4, even h4. And if black goes for capturing the pawn on g4 with the knight, queen g7, we hit the rook and the knight, and it's already lost for black. And what I believe was, even if there was no queen g7, I think still g4 is completely fine move, because after knight g4, we have the open g5, we have a long castle, we have our two knights on the queen side, which actually makes our queen side king very safe. And it actually helped us to open up the g5. We can develop the bishop to e2, put our rook another to g1, and push h4, h5, h6, sacrificing some stuff, and it's going to be actually very interesting, and it would be like London attack. Yeah. So very interesting. After g4, Vengeance decided to castle in the position. Completely fine move, ignoring the threat of g4, and we have bishop to e2 by Arjun. Knight to c5, king to b1. It is said to move the king to b1 because it actually makes the king much safer on b1. b5, definitely a very common idea, very natural move. First of all, expanding on the queen side, trying to hit on these knights like this, and also it can actually help to develop our bishop to b7. Like, as we know that this diagonal is very strong. So g5 by white, going for this knight, and now as the bishop is on e2, it covers all the right square. So knight to d7, knight to e4 was also a fine move, but Zhu Enjun decides to play knight to d7. Perhaps the idea could be to play something like e5 in the future, followed by f6, perhaps f6 and then e5. So after knight d7, we have h4 by white. h5, g6 is already a very huge threat. Rook to e2, rook to e8 in this position. A move that comes in my mind is to play f6. Perhaps, I don't know if it's a fine move. But after f6, it looks like white can continue the game by playing bishop to f3. And if black tries to expand on this, like hit the queen and the bishop, it's not going to work because of bishop into d5. So already the e5 plan is already not going to work. So now it's worth play. It's not worth playing f6. That is the reason we have rook to e8 by black. Develop the pieces, and there could be some ideas of putting the bishop to f8 and then playing e5. Bishop f3, knight into b3, trading off one pair of knight. F into g3, c into b3, opening up the c5. Generally, what we do here is we actually capture with the a pawn, or if we have done a short castle, we capture with the h pawn. But I decided to capture with the c pawn. It actually opens up the c5. Actually, I think it's a pretty nice move because as we know that the black is preparing to attack like this. So a position like this is much better. Is actually this position is much better than the previous one because we have 3 pawns to attack like this, and the previous position we have 3 pawns attacking like this. That's the difference. CP3 we have queen d6. Black wants to trade the queens. And the engine actually says that trading the queen is the best. It gives white the advantage as white can continue by playing e4. But Arjun is like, I'm playing a practical chess. Queen e2. And no, my opponent is the women's world champion. But just look at this attack. I'm not afraid. I'm going to attack on the king side. Stop if you can. a5. The black idea is to advance on the queen side. h1. Arjun is like, do it. a4. And here's my second question. What are you going to play with the white piece in this position? And actually the move played by Arjun was the best. So can you find it? Okay. So all those who have came up with the move, b into a4. This is definitely not the right move because after b4, it hits the knight. On the next move, I can capture this pawn. It opens up the rook. b3 can be a threat and it's already not comfortable. If all those who have found the move b4, now that's a move. We keep the a and the b file locked up, and we are saying, okay, we are ready to give up the b4 pawn. We are ready to give up the b4 pawn. Vengeance is like, I'm not going to take it. Actually, capturing the pawn, it could have been a right move. And after bishop into b4, the line could be continued by playing knight into d5. And here, ed5 is the best option. And after queen into b4, we actually say that white is already better because white is having the bishop pair. Black is having the side-related pawn. And I would say white is actually having a very clean advantage in this position. And all those who are thinking what happens after bishop into queen. After this, actually you can see that bishop is attacking the rook. So after knight into b6, rook into bishop, takes. And after simplifying the position, we can look at that white is simply an exchanger. So it's already completely winning position for white. That's the reason I think Zhu Wenjing didn't believe to capture this pawn on b4, and she played bishop to b7. g6 by Arjun. G6 was a fine move, but actually it actually looks very very natural move because we are simply attacking. But actually playing a3 in this position would have been much solid move because it blocks up completely the queen side, and now we can simply attack on the king side on the next move. And still after g6, black was still having the opportunity to capture the pawn on b4, but Vengeance decides to play knight f6, which turned out to be the blunder. Bishop to e5, a very fantastic move by Arjun. And you see, after the bishop is on f4, like after knight f6, how actually are you going to continue the position? It looks like many players what are going to do here is, first of all, they are going to decide which pawn must be captured, like the f pawn or the h pawn. Most of the people are going to capture the f pawn definitely. After king f7, they are going to think moves like h6 because that's the most natural move in the position. It looks like, yeah, we are attacking. But actually, guys, after d4, now it's black who is winning. Like this, it's already over. Like, it looks like white is attacking, but it's not. Like, bishop e5 is the best. Like, what Arjun think was, like, first of all, at the place of releasing the pressure, let's build up more pressure. Like, I know that the dark squares are extremely weak, we can say. Like, these squares are extremely weak. The pawns are on the light squares. So, I somehow need to take control of these dark squares. So, what I can do here is, I can play bishop e5. First, it stops d4 because we can capture this pawn with the bishop hitting the queen. And after bishop e5, we actually also hit the knight. So that there would be possibility in future to capture the knight. So we have f into g6 by Zhu Wenjing. Hg6, and we have h6, the most natural reply by black. Black wants to capture, and now he wants to block the position by like this. a3 now by Arjun. Now he's not giving any options to his opponent. Like he's blocking of the position on the queen side. Knight to d7, hitting the bishop, and now bishop to e5. Bishop to d4, centralizing the bishop, taking control of all the dark squares. And all it looks like there could be some ideas like e5 is white bishop is going to try. But now after bishop e5, we have queen d8 and black lost a pawn. Like even if you try to defend the pawn like queen a6, after queen d3, you have this double attack. And even if you try to play something like bishop c6, trying to protect it, the only way to protect the pawn, e4. Takes, bishop takes. Bishop takes, queen takes. And just look at this. A very, very comfortable position, I would say, from playing from the white side. Everything is open. Everything is open. Like, I don't know how can even black continue this position. Like, knight f6 and bishop f6 are the moves, but very hard to actually play this position, yeah? You can just sense it. That is the reason we have queen d8 and like knight into b5. And it's actually, the white is actually completely smoothly pointed. Bishop to c4, rook to c1, bishop to b3. And here Arjun decides to trade off the bishop because as you know, the opponent pawns are on the light square. So basically white bishop on f3 is not doing much. So it's better to trade off the bishops like this. e5. Like finally e5 came. Bishop c5. And after bishop c5, Zhu Wenjin decides to capture the bishop with the bishop, which was extremely blunder, which was an extremely high blunder. Actually, knight into c5 would have been the best because it actually covers up the d5 square with the help of the queen. And after knight into c5, bc5, bishop c5, bishop b3, ab3, takes. And after this, like this is still better position for white. Black can continue, although it's still losing. But this would have been the best. But after bishop into c5, bishop into b3, black decides to capture, takes, and it actually comes up with the check. And you can see if black would have captured the bishop with the knight, then black would have been an option to trade off the queens. But after queen into d5, king h8, and now how will you continue the position? Feel free to pause the video and play the move so that after playing this move, your opponent is going to think that the game is over now. Okay, so all those who have came with the move, rook to h6, congratulations, you are extremely good at sacrificing your pieces and finding tactical ideas of checkmating patterns. That's rook into h6, it's already over. Zhu Wenjin capture the rook because it's a force move, we have to capture it. Queen to f2, queen to f7, and now black decides to resign the game, and you can see this flag over the king, and it's winning because like the problem is there are two attacks. There is this queen h7 mate, and second there is this g7 check, and on the another move I'm going to make a queen, and it's going to be game over. For example, if you try to play something like queen e7, saying that you can't play queen h7 because I would trade the queens, but now g7 goes. King h7, I'll make a queen h2. And if you try to defend it by like g7, if you try to defend it like this, queen h7 is a move. That is the reason after playing queen h7, on the move number 34, Zhu Wenjin with the black pieces decides to resign the game, and Arjun Iragasi won the game. And like after completion, like we have a total 8 players qualified, and now Arjun actually came out on the second. Sam came out on the first, and second was Arjun Iragasi. And now today Arjun is going to be perhaps I'm going to upload this video tomorrow. So like the Arjun played the game against Levan Orient yesterday, and let's check it out what is going to be the result. It's actually going live at right present when I'm uploading making the video. So yeah, so basically the purpose of making this video was that actually the game that Arjun played in the London system actually is going to help every London player who actually plays the London with the white pieces. It's going to be a very good lesson for you guys to learn it, because I actually think that the way Arjun played this London system is going to inspire every chess player to play the London. And all the London players get ready to become an aggressive London player, because very interesting idea, like to castle on the king queen side. I would say, like capturing the pawn on c5, pulling your knight from this f3 to b3, centralizing the queen, making a long castle, trying to attack on the king side. Like finally, you sack a pawn, but you actually sack a pawn so that your opponent files are not open. You decide to attack, and you see that the dark squares are weak, so you decides to control the dark squares. Your opponent tries to block it, and now you completely block your queen side. Centralize your piece, capture a pawn, come back, like trade off the light square bishop, because the pawns are on the light square, which actually limit your bishop. So you trade off the bishop, and now we have this blunder and beautiful checkmate by white. So yeah, this was the game. So guys, if you like this game, then make sure to like the video, and if you like my analysis, then also make sure to like the video, and make sure to share this video with every chess fan, every player, and also must share it off with all those who plays the London session with the white pieces. So definitely actually very good lesson for black also. You can just research out of it and find out what is the correct way to play against this variation. So yeah, so I'm going to come up with these interesting videos like this analysis of the game. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching Oneshot Chess.